know that you're not only the star of the project, but you're also the EP. And I'm always so curious with actors when they sign on to be the EPs, what makes them do that? What drew you to this character, this project where you said, I want to be involved in every part of it?
Love of kicking butt. You know, Frank kicks butt and then I kick butt as an EP. No, I'm kidding. I mean, a sense of, of just having to put yourself totally immersed into this whole production, you know. It was evident when I read it that this was going to be, a ginormously ambitious project, and the size and the scope and, and the place we were shooting in Alaska, and that, it needed every ounce of me to pull it off, every ounce of my old bones to play this action butt-kicking star, and to bring in and lead the way with the cast and the crew and everybody involved to make sure that we could realize it.
Speaking of all the ambition to this story, your introduction is kind of epic because you're just running like everyone would do in their morning.
Morning, Bob.
And then there's a moose.
It's a big moose, isn't it, too?
Yeah, it's
huge. A big moose.
Days hurrying by when you're in love, my how they fly.
I'm curious, was that a real moose? Was it CGI? How close did you get
in
to
my own mind, it was a real moose. I wanted a real moose too. I wanted, there was a CGI moose, but we had it, on a stand, and they built it. But you can't help when you're shooting up in the mountains. I've had that, the giant elk, and I've come across giant bears before as well, and they're big. You get a sense of the size of that. We sat there and debated how far up that tennis ball went. How big's that moose? Raise that tennis ball up,
Yeah.
And you eyeballed it. It looked real, though, didn't it?
It did. I was curious. I wanted to know if you really had a standoff with that gorgeous
creature. I did.
creature.
In my mind, I did.
The very first fight scene when you guys get to the plane crash and you're ambushed by all of these inmates is so epic. It's so brutal.
It is, isn't it?
It's never ending. There's a guy falling from a helicopter.
Come on, fuck, let's go now! Get him out! Get him out! Come on, let's go!
What was your favorite part of nailing that, and what was the hardest?
I mean, the guy, remember there's a part where I unload, I'm on the ground and I stand up and I try to shoot one and then I'm out and I gotta reload. So the guy behind me in the background, Lee Villeneuve, is the ex-heavyweight jiu-jitsu heavyweight champion of the world. Literally the strongest man I've ever, felt grab me. So we'd rehearsed it a lot, but then we were shooting on the snow, on the hard packed ice. So I did it all, and you can't do it too early because it's all continuous. It does not stop. So I don't want to freak out, even though I know Lee's going to come barreling at me, and I've got to shoot him once. He's going to take me onto the ground. He's going to roll me over and over and over. He's going to pick me up, and he's going to slam me on the ground. So we did all that, and it went well. The most dangerous part is the roll. I can't hold on or I will lose my knee. But he picks me up, and I knew straight away, I said, holy moly, I am way further off the ground than I should be. In the moment, and everything's going on. He's so strong. He picked me up, and I thought, "This is it. I'm gonna get knocked out here. I'm gonna get knocked out." And he slammed me down, and you can see it in the thing. You can't hear the groans, the tent and the things, but I could hear everybody groaning. Thinking, "Oh my God, Clarke's out cold, man." And I was like, you see, there were stars, and I didn't know where I was, and I thought, if he picks me up and does it again, I'm gone. That's it. That was the scariest moment. And then there was like, there's a feeling when we all rush into that chopper, the camera gets in the chopper, my buddy's bleeding out, I kick the dude out down the window, he goes down to the ground, and we just take off, and you look at each other and you go, holy moly, man, we just pulled that off.
Yeah.
It's a thrill, it's a level of execution that Sam brings with his team, which made me happy to be part of.
You mentioned Simone is like your best friend's wife. I thought she was fantastic as your
is,
wife.
Yeah.
What was it like working with her, and what was your favorite thing that she brought to the role?
I never work with friends that are that close normally because, you like a bit of not too much familiarity. But what she brought was just immediate depth of relationship. We have a 25, 30-year friendship, and we were able to sink straight into that in our relationship so that we didn't need to hit, we're a husband and wife, let's show it in this scene. We just were, And there's a heart-aching scene there where she asked me to consider what I'm about to do because the family can't take it anymore. And I think anyone that's been in our business or even in life, you get to those points in your marriage where we need to be a family rather than, doing certain things separately and dangerously. And that's what she brought. So we were like, we're at a certain point in our relationship that people can relate to, and she brings a lot of sass and fun and strength, and she gets Frank out of the way when she needs to protect the one she has to as well.
Yeah.
Little lioness, a New Zealand Kiwi lioness.
If I can ask a couple questions about some other projects,
Go
because you
for
have a
it.
lot going on.
Yeah.
You're also playing Alex Murgaugh in
Yes.
the Hulu series,
Yes,
a
I am.
very different character to Frank.
Yes, completely different.
How did you find that transition and that challenge, and is there
Yeah.
anything that you almost think they might have in common?
Yeah, well, look, you always find something in everything. Of course you have to. It's innately there and it comes in. You know, I couldn't have done Alec without doing something like Frank first. You know, the fact that I played a good man and, you know, all these things, and I had room to then go into a different space, mentally and emotionally. The fact that I was in great shape after doing the Apple show made it very hard to put on so much weight and destroy my body like I did to play Alec. You know, we couldn't do prosthetics because of a number of reasons. And you know, at the end of the day, you build it. You know, you guy like Alec, you've got. He's so known. I mean, so many people have seen that court case, and I mean, all around the world. So I had to get that accent right. I had to get it to a point where I'm not faking being somebody. This is my version of this man who ultimately does the unthinkable.
Yeah.
And it was a wild, crazy ride, and it's a crazy story. And our show brings out even more to what was going on inside a man who saw himself as a victim.
Yeah.
You know, crazily enough. You know, and I had Patricia Arquette, you know, to hold my hand and shove me and tickle me and beat me up and abuse me and, you know, and love me and all those things. And she was
Yeah.
such a great dance partner.
Yeah. Another project, you're in House of Dynamite, which reunites you
yes.
with Kathryn
Yeah,
Bigelow from
KB,
Zero
yeah,
Dark
yeah,
Thirty, which I
yeah.
think that was when I
and
first...
Idris Elba. Did one of my very first jobs with Idris Elba too.
Can you, what was that like working on that, and are you excited about the early hype for it?
It's you know, that is one of the best films I've seen in a long time. I saw it, you know, in a screening, you know, by myself without anyone else, and it was like a deeply disturbing movie, you know, because the boom in Kathryn's film in the House of Dynamite, it doesn't really happen on the screen. It happens internally, and she, you know, she dances this in, you know, wild 25 minutes, say 20 minutes in 3 different levels, and just ends up leaving it with you, you know, as we go down to the thing. And that's, you know, it's like, I mean, it's like what John did, sorry to point, but it's like you're landing on a pinprick, you know what I mean? It's like you're jumping out of a plane at high, and you've got to, that's your mark, and to hit it, and she hits it, you know. And I think same thing with Bokenkamp on this, you know, every episode ends with a on a you know, what do you call that, a cliffhanger.
Okay.
Boom, the old, you know, the Stallone movie back in the day. Cliffhanger, grab my arm, check out my muscles. It was, and that's what it is, you know. And to do that is really tricky. You've got to get the story, the script, and the edit right. And Kathryn delivers that. It's a powerful movie that's just going to last.